All right, you heard in the newscast, we broke it here. Mitch McConnell will step down as Senate Republican leader in November. I want you to hear a little bit of what the senator had to say, and we're going to discuss this. And the way he said it, some of these things make a lot of sense. So here's the senator talking about he knew this day was going to come.
I've been thinking about when I would deliver some news to the Senate. I always imagined a moment when I had total clarity and peace about the sunset of my work. A moment when I'm certain I have helped preserve the ideals I so strongly believe. That day arrived today.
So he talks about it being a new season. He understands it's a time for this change.
But now it's 2024. I'm now 82. As Ecclesiastes tells us, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. To serve Kentucky in the Senate has been the honor of my life. To lead my Republican colleagues has been the highest privilege.
So then let me jump to him talking about next. What's next?
But Father Time remains undefeated. I'm no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues would remember my name. It's time for the next generation of leadership.
So I do want to get into my opinions on who it might be that becomes the Republican leader in the Senate, and I'll get to that in a minute. But this is something that we've talked quite a bit about. I was just having this conversation with someone just recently about what's happened. The concerns about, and I'm going to tell you what this other person said, and I'm not going to, but we were just talking. This is someone that I know that is the most apolitical person, pays no attention to politics whatsoever, not at all. And they were commenting on how the president of the United States is running for re-election, and in their opinion, they thought it was a horrible thing that the people around him are allowing him to run for another term when it seems as if he shouldn't be doing that. Not my opinion. I didn't say it. That's how the conversation, this other person said it. That he is exhibiting signs that it's too much for him, that at his age, he shouldn't be running for president. It is a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week, 365 this year, 366-day-a-year job. And so it is a difficult task for anyone. So that was the start of the conversation. It had nothing to do with policy. It had nothing to do with Republican, Democrat. It was a human being that said, why are the people around him allowing him to run again? And so I talked about Dianne Feinstein, the late senator, who was at the end of her life and in the Senate, but at the time she was still doing the job in the United States Senate. She was being told by colleagues in committee meetings how to vote because she couldn't hear and wasn't sure where she was at times, or at least it appeared that way. That she was asked by reporters that why she wasn't going to run for re-election. She didn't even remember that her people had stated she wouldn't run for re-election. Senator McConnell, with all due respect to him, the number of times that he is frozen up in front of the cameras, he's acknowledging that it's time for a next generation. Are we prepared for that next generation? Now, there are people that are prepared, I think, to step into leadership. But are we, and I would say this with all respect to anybody involved in politics, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, it is the one area more than most where people, for whatever reason, so desperately want to be elected to an office that they're willing to do anything to hang on to it and hang on to it for as long as they can. And we as voters don't seem to say, because we have, especially in a House race, where they are in a small district, and if you're politically inclined, you get to know them. And there are members of Congress that I've gotten to know that I will tell you that I'm friends with. And you respect them and you like them, and so you vote for them. And even when they're past their prime, where it isn't the world of success, which is, what have you done for me lately, as harsh as that is to say. If you take a look at Coach Belichick, Bill Belichick, if you're a football fan, is probably going to go down in history as the greatest NFL coach ever. Ever. He doesn't have a job right now. Last few seasons have not been good. They went their separate ways. He went his separate way from the Patriots, and it was handled respectfully. But that's a league that is elite. That league is elite in revenue and popularity around the world because the expectation is you must win. And if you're not going to be winning on the field, you're going to have a narrow window for success. And if you're not successful, it doesn't matter how much we like you. Bruce Arians retired, and he was an immensely popular coach with the Arizona Cardinals, and he retired. They loved him. But if he wasn't successful with the Cardinals, he wouldn't have lasted either. You know, we had Ken Wisenhunt, who took the Cardinals to a Super Bowl. They fired him a few years later. So my point is, when you're in a successful place, results matter more than anything else, and that hasn't been the way in American politics. And I think what that's led to is this. We have too many people that hang around for far too long, that do the job way past their prime or way past their time frame of success, and we continue to not foster the next generation. One of the things I love about working in this building, now the business that I'm in right now is a business that's kind of, I would say, not cutthroat's the wrong word because it sounds like everybody's stabbing you in the back, but it isn't. It's very competitive. And so it's difficult because you can be worried that the next person that I train or somebody that I help or I mentor, they may take my job and what's going to happen here. And that happens sometimes. But I work in a building where they are always bringing in fresh blood, that there are young people coming in, interns that are coming in from Cronkite, and the best and the brightest that want to be in broadcasting or want to be in journalism or sports, they are chosen to come in and work part-time and full-time. And they go on to do great things because of the mentoring that this company provides. And it's not a situation where people, at least from my experience, where people are afraid that if they bring somebody new on board that's really talented as a young person, that they're training the person that they're going to get fired for. It really is kind of a shared experience where let me show you what somebody showed me. It's why I love the trades. In the trades, it is that way. The journeyman on a job site trains the apprentices. The foreman on a job site is training the journeyman. The project managers are overseeing everything, and they usually have come from the field, and they understand what it's like to be on the job sites. It's one of the reasons why I love the trades. In American politics, we don't do this. In American politics, you fight like crazy to get a job by getting elected to a job, and then you say and do whatever you have to do to keep that job, and you're not going to train anybody else that's possibly going to replace you. And I think it's to our detriment. Now, let me get on to, for just a minute, I think you're going to see people, I would be surprised if it's not Ted Cruz. I would think it would be Ted Cruz that would be the next Senate Majority Leader. I just think that because of his, he almost won the nomination in 2020 for president. I don't think that there's many people that know the Senate better than he does. Now, there could be others. There are going to be others on that list. My guess is Ted Cruz. There are some capable members of the Senate that are a generation younger that are able to be in leadership. Marco Rubio could do it. Senator Lee from Utah. There are some out there that may have a shot at it. But who are we bringing up? And I don't know if you pay attention to this or not, but if you look around just in Arizona, I have had the privilege of speaking with a lot of younger groups of kids that are at young ages politically motivated and politically interested. They call them the YRs, which are the young Republicans, the TARs, the teenage Republicans, high school, college Republicans, that there are groups of people, and I know for a fact it's exactly the same way in the other party, where there are young people that are interested. Now, I don't know for sure, but I don't know how they are being trained to do something down the road. There are many people that were in the young Republicans, college Republicans that went on to political office. That's the truth. But do we have a pipeline where they're being shown how to do these things? There is, I've mentioned them before, there is for women, if you are someone that was interested in campaigning, or you're interested in politics on any level, if you want to run a campaign, if you want to be an elected official, there's a training program called the Doty London Training Program. And it is fantastic. It is comprehensive, and it's a fantastic training program. And they do this so that if there are women interested in getting into the political arena, they can take the Doty London training and learn a lot more about it. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. We don't have enough of those opportunities for the people that are interested to go and learn from somebody. And we've got to do a better job of it. So Senator McConnell, I'm glad he had the courage to stand up and say it's time for me to go. I think he served the way, honorably in the way he served, and I think he's stepping down honorably, and I'm anxious to see who replaces him.
Thanks for watching The Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.